I'm coming to you today with recommendations for books with a number in the title. Hi, my name is Jeanette, and I want to thank you for joining me on the channel Jane Reads. So today I have some recommendations and some possibilities for the next prompt I'm going to complete for my Christian Fiction Reading Challenge. So for the month of May, the challenge or the prompt is a one-word title. Fairly recently, like within the last 6 months, I did a shelf spotlight with books with a one-word title. So I am not going to repeat that. I'm just going to link that video in the description below. So if you're looking for possibilities for the May prompt, go to the description, click on that link, take you to the video, and that video has some recommendations for you. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about today is one of the bonus prompts down here. And the one I've chosen is number in the title. So I went through my list of all the books I have read with numbers in the title that I would recommend to you that fall in the Christian fiction category and some possibilities. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Now, I do read a lot of series, and when I was putting together this list, it was like, oh, wow. So I'm going to talk about the standalone books first, or the book one first, and then I'll get into the ones that fall further into the series. Okay, so the first book I'm going to recommend is 5 Days in Skye by Carla Laureano. This is book one of the MacDonald family series, and it is a contemporary romance, and I love this book. This book has become a comfort read for me. I have read this book 3 times. And I just love these characters and the setting of the Isle of Skye. The descriptions just feel like I'm visiting the country. So we are following Andrea, who is a hospitality consultant who has been assigned to go to the Isle of Skye to snag a consulting job. She meets chef James MacDonald, who turns out to be very different from what her expectations have led her to believe. This is an instant love story as it takes place over 5 days. The descriptions of the setting, though, make me feel like I'm right there on the Isle. And I just love the family aspect of the story because we meet James's brother and his sister and his aunt and his sister's kids, and they've all kind of play roles in this story, so it's very family focused. I love it. Okay, then the second book is The Fifth Avenue Story Society by Rachel Hauck. This is another contemporary romance. This is a standalone, and we are following 5 points of view throughout the story. Each character gets an invitation to this story society held at a library, and they kind of get there. They don't know who sent this, why did they receive this invite? They get to the meeting place and nobody seems to know what's going on. And they just sit and talk. And then they agree to meet again the next week and sit and chat. And so like a friendship blooms through this. The 5 characters are very different from each other. We're following like a grandfather. We are following a cab driver. A young lady who is like a CEO of a company, like inherited her grandmother's cosmetics company. We are following a couple who were married but have split, and they both separately get invited. Is that 5? Yes. Was that 5 characters? And so the age ranges are very varied, It's a wide age range of characters. We've got the young couple, kind of the middle-aged, and then the grandfather. And I just loved following each character and following their point of view and kind of seeing it. And we do watch romances bloom throughout the story, friendships from unlikely sources, and just supporting each other because they each are dealing with their own challenges in life. And I just really enjoyed this. I have read it twice and I loved it both times. Okay, then another standalone is One More Song to Sing by Lindsay Harrel. This is another contemporary romance, and I gave it 4 stars. So more than 2 decades ago, Olivia left her old life behind in the red dirt of Oklahoma and forged a career in Nashville as a country music star. Now her voice is failing, forcing her to find a new dream just as the secrets of her past come knocking at the door. Longtime friend Andrew agrees to partner in a new business venture, but would he stick around if he knew her whole story? So this story is filled with heartache, loss, regret, forgiveness, and learning to overcome the past. Ellie is in Nashville for 2 reasons: to search for her mom and to pursue her music career. These characters just captured my heart and had me rooting for things to turn out for them. The secondary characters showed what true friendship looks like by supporting and challenging them. I remembered this story just hit, and I really enjoyed it, and it made me pick up more by this author. Okay, then I have another standalone, One Perfect Spring by Irene Hannon. It's another contemporary romance, and I rated it 4 stars. So we are following Claire, who is a determined, independent single mother who is doing her best to make lemonade out of lemons life has handed her. And Keith is a results-oriented workaholic with no time for a social life. As the executive assistant to a local businessman, he's used to fielding requests for donations. But when a letter from Claire's 11-year-old daughter reaches his desk, everything changes. The girl isn't asking for money, but for help finding her long-lost son of an elderly neighbor. As Keith digs reluctantly into this complicated assignment, he has no idea how intertwined his life and Claire's life will become, nor how one little girl's kind-hearted request will touch so many lives and reap so many blessings. Okay, then we have No One to Trust by Lynette Eason. This is a romantic suspense, and this is book 1 of the Hidden Identity series. When I read it, I gave it 4 stars, and we are following Summer, who wakes up one morning to find her husband missing. 3 men in her home intent on finding him, and the life she's been living is based on a lie. Which Kyle did she marry? The computer programmer she met in line at the bank? Or the one who apparently using that image as a cover story? The search for her husband and answers takes Summer even deeper into a world of organized crime where people are used one moment and discarded the next. And with her deepest relationship of trust already shattered, Summer doesn't know who to believe. I loved that this story follows a married couple, and it was filled with suspense that kept me guessing the whole way and just hooked on it. Can the trust, what happened to the husband? Can the trust be rebuilt? Like, I was fully invested. However, there is a scene that involves snakes that is so described so well that it had me freaking out, which is why I gave it 4 stars. I do not like snakes, and it just felt like they were right there as I was reading it. Okay, then we have Where Two Hearts Meet by Liz Johnson. This is book 2 of her Prince Edward Island Dreams series, and it is another contemporary romance. In this one, we are following Caden, who is a chef at the Red Door Inn. So book 1 is called The Red Door Inn. So we've already met Caden in book 1. Then her boss asks her to show off the island to a visiting travel writer and save the inn. Caden is forced into to face a world much bigger than her kitchen, which she would prefer to stay in, and a man who makes her wish she was beautiful. Journalist Adam is on a forced sabbatical on Prince Edward Island. He's also on assignment to uncover a story. Instead, he's falling in love with the island's red shores, which, how can you not, and Caden's sweets. When Caden discovers Adam isn't who she thought he was, she realizes that the article he's writing could damage the inn and break her heart. This was filled with enjoyable characters, a couple meddling matchmakers who just made it fun, but also you felt Caden's embarrassment, and it just makes you want to visit this inn and Prince Edward Island. Okay, then we have One Final Breath by Lynn H. Blackburn. This is book 3 of the Dive Team Investigations book. We are following the same group of characters that we have met in book 1. Oh, I should say it's a romantic suspense. And so we're following the same group of characters that we met in book 1, but this time it's from the point of view of 2 other characters than the other books. So there is a mystery going on trying to capture an active shooter, or trying to stop an active shooter, digging into a cold case, and then a romance, following a romance as well. And as much as the mystery kept me going, it was really the romance that pulled me in for this book. And I have read this series twice. This has been a 5-star both times. I just love it. Again, it's a team aspect. You're following the same characters throughout all 3 books. You're just getting to know them on a deeper level as you're getting their point of view this time. I highly recommend this series. Okay, then we have another book 3 of a series, and that is Just One Kiss by Courtney Walsh. It's another contemporary romance, and it is book 3 of the Harbor Point series, and I gave this book 5 stars. It is a small town romance about first love, second chances, and how our most beautiful life might look like nothing we ever planned. I don't normally love second chance romances, but I loved this book. Josh returns to town after finding out that their son is battling a health challenge. Carly is angry at Josh and doubts his insecurity, but Josh is remorseful for his past actions and is determined to earn her forgiveness. The story does feel a bit heavy at times, but I was fully invested in it and loved it. Okay, the next one is Her One and Only by Becky Wade. This is book 4 of the Porter family series, and I gave it 4 stars when I read it. This is the series that introduced me to Becky Wade's writing, and then I had to pick up more by her. So we are following Gray, who is an NFL player. He's being pursued by a stalker, so his team hires a protection agency to keep him under watch, like a bodyguard for him. So then Gray meets Drew Porter, who is the agent assigned to him. But he's like, how can an attractive young female who is half his size possibly protect him? This wraps up the Porter family series by following Drew, who is the youngest Porter family sibling, and it also follows the couple from book 1. So we pick up again from the initial couple that we met. I loved following these characters develop, seeing a relationship develop between Gray and Drew, and kind of the growth of the characters, letting down their guard, learning to trust one another, and just finding a place of belonging. I loved it. Okay, and the last one that I have read that I have as a recommendation. Now, this is book 6 of a series. I'm sorry to do that to you. It is You're the One I Want by Susan May Warren. So this is book 6 of the Christensen family. And when I read it the first time, it was the last book of the series. I reread this series at the end of 2022 because book 7 had come out. And I had to. Throughout this whole series, we are following the 6 siblings of the Christensen family. So this book focuses on Owen, who I want to say is the youngest Christensen sibling. We initially meet him in book 2. An injury happens, he kind of wanders away from the family, and we don't really see him for most of the rest of the series at the time. Like, so book 2, so 3, 4, 5, right? Like, he's not really around. There's a brief mention of him, but he's not active in their lives. So book 6 picks up his story. We are following it from his point of view. And we really get to know him. And so we see Owen turn from a guy who has been doing things his own way, kind of feeling like the black sheep of the family, to reconnecting with his family, finding love, and just discovering life's purpose for him. And I don't want to say too much more about this book because, as I said, it is book 6 of a series. But this is the only one with a number in the title. Okay, so what possibilities do I have to read? Well, I don't own any books on my shelves, like on my TBR, that have a number in the title. So I had to do some Googling and see what books could I read. Okay, so I have a few possibilities. The first one is Second Impressions by Pepper Basham. This is a contemporary romance. It is a novella, which is not usually my thing, but I have enjoyed a lot of Pepper's stories before, so I thought, well, this is a possibility. It says, he likes streamline. She prefers embellishments. His forte is business, hers is atmosphere. Will they realize each has what the other needs to create the perfect romance with a touch of Jane Austen flair? When a country girl travels to Bath, England, so that's a buzzword for me, to visit Jane Austen country, will a serious businessman ruin her Regency dream? So it's Pepper Basham. It's set in England. Yes, I'm intrigued. Okay, then the second one is also a novella. It's actually 2 novellas in one, and it's called Where Two Hearts Meet by Carrie Turansky. It is another contemporary romance, and it says it follows 2 sisters. So the first one is called Tea for Two. Allison is the co-owner of a financially strapped tea shop in Princeton, New Jersey. She receives a large anonymous check that saves her business, but she has no idea who sent it. Could it be from Peter, the wealthy businessman who owns the shop next door and wants to win Allison's heart? Or is it from Tyler, Allison's old boyfriend, who returns to town claiming a renewed faith and a changed life? Allison doesn't know who to trust. Should she follow her head or her heart? Or is there someone who can guide her toward the best path for her future? And then the second novella is Wherever Love Takes Us. And after 25 years of marriage, Matt and Teresa are struggling to recover financially and rebuild trust following a business failure. Then Matt inherits property in Oregon and wants to move the family there to make a fresh start. But Tessa can't imagine giving up the cozy tea shop she owns with her sister, or leaving her friends and family in Princeton. Whose dream will they follow, and how much will it cost their family? Can they resolve their differences and rebuild a love that seems lost? Okay, so those are 2 novella options for me, and then I have some full-length options. So one that really intrigues me, it's a new release, it just came out in 2024, and it's One Wrong Move by Dani Pettrey. It is a romantic suspense. It is book 1 of the Jeopardy Falls series. However, it is book 1 of a series that the rest of the series is not out yet. So that kind of, I don't really want to read it now because I know I'm going to want the rest of the series. Okay, so it says, Taunting Riddles. A deadly string of heists, 2 broken hearts trapped in a killer's game. Christian was pulled into a life of crime at a young age by his con artist parents. Now making amends for his corrupt past, he has become one of the country's foremost security experts. When a string of southwestern art heists capture the FBI's attention, Christian is paired up with a gifted insurance investigator who has her own checkered past. Andy was a brilliant FBI forensic analyst until one of her colleagues destroyed her career, blaming her for mishandling evidence. She now puts those skills to work investigating insurance fraud, and this latest high-stakes case will test her gift to the limit. Drawn deep into a dangerous game with an opponent bent on revenge, Christian and Andy are in a race against the clock to catch him, but the game is far from finished, and one wrong move could be the death of both of them. I have really loved a lot of Dani Pettrey's books, and I love romantic suspense, so I really want to read this one. But as I said, it is book 1 of a series that is not finished yet. Okay, so, but there is a series that is fully complete that I can borrow from our church library. So this is kind of where I'm leaning, but we'll see. So I'm only going to talk about, all 3 books have numbers in the title. And that series is Pelican Harbor by Colleen and Coble. So book 1 is One Little Lie and is another romantic suspense. So I'm just going to read the description of book 1 because the other 2 are the rest of the series, right? I don't want to spoil myself, and I don't want to spoil you. Okay, so it says, it started with one little lie, but Jane Hardy will do everything in her power to uncover the truth. When Jane is appointed the interim sheriff in Pelican Harbor, Alabama, after her father retires, there's no time for an adjustment period. He is arrested for theft and then implicated in a recent murder, and Jane quickly realizes she's facing someone out to destroy her father. They escaped from a cult 15 years ago, and Jane has searched relentlessly for her mother, who refused to leave ever since. Could someone from that horrible past have found them? Reed is a well-known journalist who makes documentaries, and his sights are currently set on covering Jane's career. Jane has little interest in their attention, but the committee who appointed her loves the idea of publicity. Jane finds herself depending on Reed's calm manner as he follows her around taping his documentary, and they begin working together to clear her father. But Reed has his own secrets from the past, and the gulf between them may be impossible to cross. So that she escapes from a cult. Now her father's being arrested. He was the former sheriff. I am really intrigued in this, and I have enjoyed a lot of Colleen's books in the past. And as I said, the whole series has a number in the title. So book 2 is 2 Reasons to Run, and book 3 is 3 Missing Days. Like, they're appropriately numbered, right? Book 1 is One Little Lie, book 2 is 2 Reasons to Run, and book 3 is 3 Missing Days. So that's kind of the series that I'm leaning towards. However, do I want to add 3 books for this prompt? I don't know. Or do I want to do 2 novellas for this prompt? I don't know. So those are my recommendations for a number in the title. As I said, a lot of them are series and not book 1s of the series. So I apologize for that because if I've intrigued you. But if I'm recommending the later books in the series, that means I enjoyed the earlier books in the series. They just didn't have a number in the title. So those are my recommendations and the possibilities that I am thinking about reading for this prompt. I would love if you have a book with a number in the title that falls into the Christian fiction category, please leave it in the comments below and I will look it up and see, have I read it or have I not read it? I'd love to chat. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video today, and I would love it if you would like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.